violation of the following offense or was granted deferred entry of judgment for the following offenses. Code section type of offense eligible for reduction to misdemeanor under Penal Code 17. Eligible for reduction to infraction under Penal Code 17 D2. In additional space is needed for listing offenses. Use attachment judicial counsel form. This space, if you receive in the criminal record, you see that the code number, section, type of offense, what kind of criminal you did, felony or misdemeanor or infraction. Eligible for reduction to misdemeanor under Penal Code. Eligible for reduction to infraction under Penal Code. 2. Felony or misdemeanor with felony or misdemeanor with probation grant. Probation was granted on the terms and conditions stated in the docket of the above entitled court. The petitioner is not serving a probation was granted on the terms and conditions stated in the docket of the above entitled court. The petitioner is not serving sentence for offense, nor on probation any offense, nor on the charge of commission of any crime, and the petitioner A. has fulfilled the condition of probation of the entitled period thereof. B. has been discharged from probation prior to termination of the prior period thereof. C. should be granted relief in the interest of justice. Please note, you must explain why granting this measure would be in the interest of justice. You may complete and attach the attached declaration Form MC-031 or submit other relevant documents. 3. Misdemeanor or infraction with the sentence other than probation. Petitioner was not granted more than 1 year has elapsed since the date of pronouncement of judgment. Petitioner has complied with the sentence of the court and not serving sentence at any offense on the charge of commission of any crime, and the petitioner A. has lived an honest and upright life since pronouncement of judgment and conformed to and obey the law of the land. B. should be granted relief in the interest of justice. Please note, you must explain why granting this measure would be in the interest of justice. You may complete and attach the attached declaration or submit other relief of document. Hello, sir. Oh, okay. Heavy, warm, right? Hot today.
Yours. Hiking.
Okay, thank you, sir. continue.
page 22, domestic partnership information sheet. Domestic partnership meaning if somebody married but not recording, just to live there altogether, and then there is a domestic partnership, not married. Introduction. The city of Los Angeles offers domestic partners or city employee and their domestic partners' children equal access to its employee benefit programs, including health and the dental plan. Page 22. The Employee Assistance Program, EAP, and bereavement leaves. The family license benefit. To obtain these benefits, you must submit proof that you and your partners sign the city affidavit of domestic partnership form and appropriate identification, or 2, register the state of California declaration of domestic partnership form, or proof of similar legal union validity formed in another state that has been submitted to and accepted by the City of Los Angeles Personnel Department Benefit Division. Please refer to the section on how to file for domestic partnership benefit for more detailed information. You are not required to enroll in a health and or dental plan in order to file your affidavit of domestic partnership. Your affidavit Your affidavit may be filed at any time. However, if you wish to enroll in a health or dental plan, you may only do so at a specified time. See when to enroll your domestic partner. Also, you should be aware that if you enroll your domestic partner or the domestic partner's child In a health plan, you will have to pay income tax on the amount of the health plan subsidy that will be paid by the city to provide coverage per the internal revenue service, and questions regarding the tax consequence of adding a domestic partner or the child of a domestic partners to your health dental plan should be directed to a tax professional. How to file for domestic partners benefit? To obtain domestic partners benefit, you must submit proof that you and your partners are in a domestic partnership as attested by both parties through either the city affidavit of domestic partnership or a registered state of California declaration of domestic partnership form or proof of a similar legal union valid form under state. 1. City domestic partnership affidavit. To obtain domestic partners benefit under the city domestic partnership affidavit, you and your domestic partner must meet the following condition and attest to this by completing and signing the affidavit of a domestic partnership. A. You and your partner must be in a complete and mutually exclusive relationship in which you are jointly responsible for each other's welfare and financial obligation. You and your partners must have reside together in the same principal residence for at least 12 months and intend to so identify definitely. C. You and your partners must be 18 years of age or older, unmarried, and not blood relatives. You must submit an affidavit of domestic partnership signed and dated by both you and your domestic partners, and submit copy of your California driver's license or identification card for both you and your domestic partner, and address on your respective license or identification card must match one another. Your affidavit and application cannot be processed until an addressed are constituted with one another. Special note: if you have a domestic partner and the area in the process of divorcing a spouse, be advised that your affidavit can be processed no earlier than 1 year from the effective date of your divorce, regardless of how long you may have been living at the domestic partners. Okay. 5 minute break. You go to the restroom.
他前期也非常的麻烦，他在国内也学 art， 然后就非常的麻烦然后包括刚来就去做婚姻的国际转移，然后他前期的时候之后，他会找心理医生做心理咨询，肯定会有问题的。我说我跟他俩说，我说我保留对你的选权利，因为你已经造成了经济上的伤害了。我说一旦到时候我拿这个你可以离婚，你这套房子你不拿了。现在很多证据都可以对。他中间是后来报警了，报警之后来了之后，他有身体有伤啊，反正没办法。他有犯罪记录，他有那个家伙被逮捕了，那个证没有拿。他是比较相信，我跟警察说过，我说那不是他打，那是我出去我自己说的。但是警察说你是你们死就把他进去在那个进去在那个3天，38个小时，还是我给他拍。我跟他说，我说你在哪你报警吗？他自己报的。那你上哪来的？科的。你是科的。我自己出去，我干了啥我本来就是过敏体质，我你是碰我一下我这儿我就是这样的。我警察就觉得是因为那个太难了。主要是我们俩婚姻快5年了，从认识都3年了，加上从认识到现在3年了。然后他就觉得我是真的自己的婚姻，不是那种网络的是房间给他还做饭，他说你们9年后他又这个做饭了。我说因为我是真的，就是我30岁之前我可以每天换男的，但是一旦我决定要结婚，我就会一心一意对待婚姻。我说我是真的。再加上我俩现在感情也是没有感情基础。他现在他每次回来都不去看他小孩，他要看不看，都是我说的，男的就是这样的。当他娶了年轻漂亮的，他真的会忘记他的前妻和他的小孩。虽然那是他的孩子，但他已经不知道。然后跟我说什么？资质不是他孩子。对，他的法律。对，法律他结束了。结束了。顺利就赢了。就是什么？然后他就跟我说，他说我现在我就跟他说，我说你应该去看看那两个妈妈。他说不用去，他说想我可以主动联系我吧。不主动，不行。对。问题是你是当爸的，你应该主动先跟你前妻说一下，我能不能预约一下，能不能这周陪一下他。你至少1周你去看1天嘛，让他不去。小孩小的一个5岁，一个9岁，现在6岁10岁了。太小了。跟我家里，你猜他还跟我说什么？他说我现在主要就期待你跟咱俩这种小孩。他说你放心吧，我一定会宠死他的。他说因为那3个小孩就是他们生孩子的时候，我当时都在跑业务，我在建立我的生意，我在建立我的地步。那种感情基础。对小孩对，他说但是现在我的生意已经然后公司弄起来了。他说我现在就很多时间，他说我虽然在国内偶尔去开会，但平常的话我想去公司就去，不想去我就在家出去玩。他说以后我就带你全球旅行，然后咱2个小孩，我老没得子嘛，我就很蠢。我说那你喜欢男孩还是女孩？他说都可以。你看吧，你要当有钱的男人最后一任，你不要当他第1任。因为男人有钱，他不可能一辈子只守护一个女人，这是不可能的。真的不可能。只能当最后一个。而且还是服服帖帖的让他。对，之前我妈就一直不同意嘛，说我俩结婚处朋友。我妈说你条件那么好，你找个他。我说妈，你要明白，我现在找个年轻的，以后也那样。好。我说呀，女的有钱也会变坏。但问题是我们女性有钱很难的。你那个，他为啥找他前妻？你想他前妻得多生气吧？他前妻家里有钱，他前妻在我们郑州拆2代，家里面60多套房。他的生意能做起来都是他前妻铺垫的，一手弄起来的。然后弄起来他才很生气。你想想他前妻现在见我那你真是恨死。他第2任。他就第2任前。正好是那个时候他生意需要上升。我说要不然你能娶个这样的，那嘴都歪成啥了？我这几年没见过这丑的女人。很丑。真的下口吧。那个女的她后来找我麻烦的时候，我就说我说姐你不用找我麻烦， 你有机会你就反正你有钱嘛，你去整整容啊，你去美容院，你多穿点漂亮衣服，你学个打扮，不行你报个班嘛。我说这么难，你为了他你我说你还过来找我麻烦辞境啊？我说你跟我辞境什么？我说
啥也没有，
你又没给我生过孩子，我又没睡过你，对不对？我不用给你负任何责任，但是你负责任在这个事情上。我说你要很生气，我老公在那儿，我现在给你扇300巴掌嘛，你有钱吗？1巴掌给1万得了我说只要你有钱，你扇我你解气我说你找我麻烦真没用，我说姐你看你长得丑呗你现在又离婚又带俩孩子，我说真的，你这辈子我估计你也好不到哪儿去了，因为你再找男的。然后找不到，你必须得钱到位，你这个月钱不到位，你发现那个人家这个月出轨我说以后你的婚姻都是建立在金钱上的，你一次钱给不到位，你都不可能，人家不可能对你和你孩子好的我说这东西我一看92年的我都不能看那么透，你看得明白吗？我就说你都快入土的人了，我说你还不客气，
跟我一样大应该
那个女的8米的，
跟我一样
但问题她长得很丑。我说姐，你真的长得很丑，我都几年没见过你这么丑的女人了
真的有那么
真的很丑，然后他就要过来打我，我打的话，按给你的1400万，你直接给我，
反正给我比其他女都省，那房子都是我的。
对，我说真没过。现在我没得生孩子，他的房子是我的，我也是都是你，因为这证据太多了别的不说，就一个因为violence 然后被逮捕，进行一个逮捕令，我拿着了，原把我拿着，
你现在都在
我现在都在拿着，而且我在2年之内可以保留，就是继续申请这个家庭暴力法这个权利，我都保留了。
只要一暴力女，然后立马全都是。
而且他的还要续签他被驱逐出去。
对，他就来不了了，而且人家可以再找一个新的。
对，其实我就跟我妈说，我说妈，你现在多好。我妈说你真是
我在，他有在
有远见啊。
对
我妈就说我有远见。我说妈，你记住，有钱的男的永远一辈子不可能是上一个女的，当他最后一个不要当他第一个或者第二个，
很吃饭的，很惨的。
建立起来了就是哪个男的不找年轻的跟你说你算
男的都喜欢年轻的。
回去嘛，我就直接去拿了那个钥匙，然后就和他的集体户口，保证他集体户口上填一个房签名上。
又升级了。
倒不是升级了，我想让我资产小家属我都想好了，就是如果以后有一天天有第3婚姻的话，我真的能离婚。我还能再找个更好的，因为我性格上，虽然我3观很正，因为同样都是漂亮的人，但是能在家干活的，然后不爱那个，然后能守得住这个家的没几个，我算幸运的。就算是我有孩子，我也可以找带孩子的。然后就因为我有这个美国身份的，我可以彩礼要这个300万。中国有钱人很多的，但是他能有什么途道去移民呢？这种就很少。对，所以说我就跟他们说，我说你要跟我结婚的话，我可以给你办绿卡，但是前提是彩礼我就要300万，一个都不能少。我会根据他的经济情况，然后去要这个东西。他要能赚1000多万，我说500万，一个都不能少，就这吧，我还帮你省了300万，因为我是加州的绿卡你要想去那种不好的州移民费还要300多呢，300多万呢。
又不是
对
人民币，对他们来说我看，只会美金、人民币，咱们就美金。
就咱就说人民币嘛，因为你在中国就说中国话，对吧？
10万、20万。
对，但是现在能不能考虑多好也行，因为他对我确实不错。他现在对我好的很，经常也不说，每天都要跟我视频。
他现在抓的也很紧。
主要是我情绪价值提升真的很好。他每次跟我视频，我说乖，对我每次嘴也甜嘛，我说哎乖，你吃饭了吗？我说你可得吃饭，要是喝酒的话，提前先让你的下属给你把那个果汁盛了。
有点急给人。
对，然后我还跟他说，我从如姐那儿给你下单了那个，就是那个茶叶我说放你包里了，你到时候出去出差应酬的时候，
大家也坐那儿喝点茶，那个服务员他会来，也显得你会来事儿，因为他上面也有领导你像主任也会来事儿。我这样问你了又懂事，而且还会安排一些细节性的东西。
Page 22, the bottom, number 2, State of California Declaration of Domestic Partnership Form. You also may obtain domestic partners benefit under a copy of the Declaration of Domestic Partnership Form submitted to the State of California Secretary of State or on the period approve of a similar legal union validly formed in another state. The State of California Declaration of Domestic Partnership Form is available on the Secretary of State website of sos.ga.gov/d-registry. The documentary must be submitted to the Personal Department, Benefit Division 200 North Spring Street, Room 867, Los Angeles, California 90012. Next to page 23. Tax implication. The California domestic partner right and Responsibility Act of 2003 expanded the right of the responsibility of domestic partners and modified the procedure for establishing and terminating domestic partnership beginning January 1st, 2005. The California Secretary of State has a different definition of a domestic partnership based upon California Family Code Section 297, and it contains 7 requirements for eligibility which are clearly outlined in the Declaration of Domestic Partnership. Information about registering with the state of California can be obtained by contacting its Los Angeles office at 300 South Spring Street, room 12531, Los Angeles, California. California to 90013 or calling that office at 213-897-3062. In addition, Secretary of State website contains detailed information about its domestic partners registry. The legislation forms the frequently asked questions. Please visit sos.gov/deepregistry/index. Please note there are major difference between the city and state definition, in that the California state required domestic partners to be members of the same sex or one or both of you are over the age 60 to meet the eligibility criteria under Title II of the Social Security Act. If you meet the state definition and register with that agency, please send a copy of the resulting certificate of registration of domestic partnership to our office in order to remove the state income tax liability associated with the covering your domestic partners and or your domestic partners eligible dependents under your benefit. Legislation with the Secretary of State will not have any impact upon the federal income tax liability associated with covering these defendants. When to enroll your domestic partners in a health and dental plan, you may be enroll yourself and your domestic partners and his or her dependent children in a health and dental plan at the following time. Within 60 days of your employment date, during an annual open enrollment period within 30 days in a qualifying life event, within 30 days of your meeting the domestic partner's definition, within 60 days of your transfer from the Department of Water and Power. If you do not add your domestic partners and or his or her dependent children to your health and dental plan within the above time frames, you must wait until the next open enrollment period to do so. When to terminate your domestic partner's benefit? If you and your domestic partners no longer meet all of the above definition, you must just notify the city of 30 days by filing a statement of termination of domestic partnership with the Personal Department Employee Benefit Office. If you fail to remove uneligible domestic partners from your health dental plan, you may be responsible for repayment of the city portion of the premium retroactive to the date of eligibility, as well as of the cost of medical service provided to an ineligible defendant, to the extent possible under law, and their domestic partners will not be offered an opportunity to continue their coverage in the health dental plan at their own expense provided for in the Consolidated Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act of 1986. If you further want to obtain a well program benefit for yourself of your defendants, you will be required to pay any cost of any benefit that were paid on your behalf. You will have your coverage retroactively terminate, and at the sole discretion of the City of Los Angeles, you may also be subject to disciplinary action, including but not limited to discharge. You may not be another affidavit of domestic partnership until at least 12 months after you have filed your statement of termination of the previous domestic partners. Well, to obtain phone call information for a copy of the affidavit of domestic partnership, statement of termination of domestic partnership or to obtain additional information regarding domestic partners, please call the Personal Department of Domestic Partners Benefit Coordinator, address 213-978-1591, Monday through Friday between the Sunday. You may also obtain forms by visiting Employee Benefit Division, 200 North Spring Street. This building is